Welcome back to more FPL content. This will be the predicted lineups for Game Week 12 and the deadline is fast approaching. I will be going live tomorrow for that deadline stream around 2 hours before the 11 AM deadline in the UK. And you can see my scoreline predictions on screen. I've gone for Burnley 1, Chelsea 3 in the early kickoff, Bournemouth 2, West Ham 1, Brighton 2, Brentford 2, Fulham 1, Sunderland 1, Liverpool 2, Nottingham Forest 0, Wolves 1, Crystal Palace 2, Newcastle 2, Manchester City 3, Leeds United 1, Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 3, Tottenham Hotspur 1, and Man United 1, Everton 0. I'll show you my final versions in the deadline stream tomorrow. This saying goes for the top 10 captains, the updated clean sheet odds, and all the injury updates and team news that you need. And some of that will also be covered in today's podcast in terms of injury suspensions and also those predicted lineups for every single Premier League team and their upcoming fixtures. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and also hit the notification bell so you're always up to date on my content for both FPL and UCL fantasy. Keep your eyes peeled for Matchday 5 content with the best wildcard and limitless squads, my team selection, and another deadline stream next Tuesday. Be sure not to miss all of that, and also check all the links in the description below for my Patreon and the championships, for likes to my videos, prior to comments, amongst many other perks. My Discord server, the FPL League, and Spotify can also be found in the description. But without further ado, let's jump straight into it. I'll start things off with the league leaders in Arsenal, who are 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League table. They face Tottenham at home next, followed by Chelsea away, Brentford at home, and Aston Villa away. And the score that you see in the top right hand corner of your screen is my correct predictions for the season so far. 112 out of a possible 121 for the Gunners, with David Raya in goal, Jurriën Timber, Saliba, and Hincapié, who should replace the injured Gabriel Magalhaes, who will miss out for the next month or so due to injury. Calafiori is yellow flagged, but Fabrizio Romano and other reliable journalists indicated they will be available for the North London derby. And in terms of the other injured players like Madueke, Odegaard, Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, they're all unavailable, but a few reports have indicated that Odegaard could return for the North London derby and be in the squad. With the others, they are a little bit further away, especially Kai Havertz, who suffered a setback in his return from injury. Zubimendi, Rice and Eze is the likely midfield, with Saka, Trossard and Merino up front. That's what I'm going to go for with the Gunners, but this will also be pending Mikel Arteta's comments on Friday. I don't expect him to give much away, but if we get news of other key players returning, then there could be 1 or 2 changes to the starting 11. Moving on now to Aston Villa, I've got 106 correct with them this season, and they've got 3 yellow flags in the starting 11 as things stand, with Emi Martinez in goal. Both Cash and Konsa are at 75% chance of playing according to FPL. Pau Torres and Luka Dean would complete that defensive line, with Kamara and Onana in the midfield, who is also yellow flagged due to a knock. Buendia and also McGinn on the wings, and Morgan Rogers just behind Ollie Watkins. It's Leeds away next, followed by Wolves at home, Brighton away, and Arsenal at home. But we did get some updates from Bournemouth in the Friday press conference from Areola, and it wasn't too positive from the Spaniard. He actually commented on Antoine Semenyo's ankle injury. We will have to see. It's not a massive injury. It's going to be a matter of how he is feeling today. So he didn't really give too much away when it comes to Antoine Semenyo. It becomes a bit more complicated in terms of whether we should hold him, sell, or bench him. But I think for those that have him, you hold and you start him. And for those wildcarding, it might be best to go about in certain situations. Iriola also said in his press conference today, we have had a bad international break. We had confirmed injuries of Justin Kluivert, an abductor muscle injury. We know Justin is going to be out. Ben Doak also, a hamstring injury. It's a bad one. He'll be out for some time. Today we have a consultation with a surgeon to see if it's something that has to go through surgery or we can go more conservative, but it's a big hamstring injury. We also have others coming with knocks, kind of normal things. We'll see today how they train. Then we had an incident with Adam Smith and Tyler Adams because both have been in concussion protocol, so they are available for the game. But with these 2 weeks, they had to go through all of the process of concussion, and that has affected their training. So to kind of summarize what he said, both Tyler Adams and Adam Smith returned from concussion, but their training was affected. Doak and Kluivert are ruled out, and Bournemouth face West Ham at home next, Sunderland away, and Everton at home, which is also followed by another home fixture against Chelsea at the Vitality Stadium. I would expect Petrovic to start in goal with Jimenez, Diakite, Senesi and Truffer in that defensive line. But of course, Smith could take the place of Jimenez in the starting 11. Scott and Adams should start in the midfield with Brooks and Semenyo on the wings if the Ghanaian is available. And Tavernier will be just behind Evanuson, but Krupi Jr. is also knocking on the door for the Cherries. The next team is Brentford. We also got some updates from them and Keith Andrews, and Fabio Carvalho did sustain an ACL injury, which will see him out for the entire season. And Keith Andrews said it happened around a week ago in training. It's been a tough week for obvious reasons. It's devastating for him. Aja is available. Both De Silva and Malambo are unavailable, and with the latter, he's also out for the season due to an ACL injury. So Kelleher will be in goal, and a back four of Coyote, Collins, Vandenberg and Hickey is the most likely, with Henderson and Yarmouk in the midfield, Dango Ouattara and Shada on the wings, and Damsgaard just behind Igor Thiago. It's Brighton away next, followed by Burnley at home, Arsenal and Tottenham away, and with Brentford, I've gotten 108 correct predictions so far this season. And the same goes for Brighton, and Ayari will no longer be yellow flagged now. It's worth bearing that in mind because he has been cleared to play, according to Fabian Hürseler. Verbruggen, Vifa, Van Heck, Dunk and Kadioglu is the most likely starting 11 and defensive line there for Brighton, with Ayari, Baleba, Minter, Gomez, Rutter and Welbeck. We also got an update on Mitoma, and Hürseler said it's not an easy thing to predict. In the last international break, I said it's just a question of 2 or 3 weeks, but now he's getting close. He has to handle the pain, so it's not a big issue. Everything is healed, so he should be fine. We just have to see how he can handle the pain. And he also talked about Solly March, who has been injured for quite a while. He is getting really close. It's only a question of 2 or 3 weeks maybe until we see him back. This will be exciting for me, for us, for him, to see him back in our group. He's been out for a long time, and we are all looking forward to having him back. Hinshelwood, Ayari and Gruder are all fit, whilst March, Webster and Milner are out. And Brighton face Brentford at home, Nottingham Forest away, and they have 2 more home fixtures against Aston Villa and West Ham for the next 4 game weeks. We're now moving on to Burnley, and Broja could be available for game week 12 with his injury not being as bad as initially feared, whilst Bayer, Roberts and Amdouni are the long-term absentees still. But even when they return, I would expect the starting 11 to be unchanged, with the odd exception of certain matches where Burnley go to a back 5. This could happen against Chelsea and Newcastle, for example, but if they were to retain this 4-2-3-1, it will be Dubravka in goal, Walker and Hartman as the fullbacks, Twansebe and Esteve in central defence, Cullen and Florentino Luis in the heart of the midfield, with Chiwana and Anthony on the wings, and Ogochukwu just behind Fleming, who has been in fine goal-scoring form over the last couple of weeks. But aside from those 2 difficult fixtures against Chelsea and Newcastle, Burnley will face Brentford away and Crystal Palace at home over the next 4, so none of those fixtures look particularly easy. Now with Chelsea, they face Burnley away next, but then it's Arsenal at home, Leeds away, and also Bournemouth away. Robert Sanchez will be in goal. He only costs 4.8 million. I think Reece James will start, and he boasts a brilliant record against Burnley. Cucurella is the most nailed on Chelsea defender, and he'll start at left back once again. And Fofana and Chalobah form the main centre back partnership for Chelsea at this moment in time. Both Enzo Fernandez and Pedro Neto have been cleared, so the yellow flags have been removed. Caicedo, Joao Pedro, Garnacho and Delap will complete the probable starting 11 for Chelsea against Burnley away. And Enzo Maresca provided some big updates on Cole Palmer, and unfortunately he suffered another setback. He's probably not available for tomorrow for sure, Barcelona for sure, or Arsenal. Unfortunately, he had an accident at home where he hit his toe. It is nothing important, but he won't be back in the next week. We don't know how long he'll be out. It's fractured. The only thing we know is he's not available for this week and next week. The last time I saw him was Thursday morning, and he was without socks, without flip-flops, without nothing. He wasn't limping too much. He was walking okay, but the problem is the small toe. The contact with the boot can be a bit painful. And Badiashile, Enzo Fernandez and Pedro Neto are all available for Game Week 12, and Chelsea have had a lot of injuries all season. But the same can't be said for the next team, who have been the best in terms of predictions so far this season. Crystal Palace, 117 correct out of 121, but Mark Gay obviously missed Game Week 11, and he couldn't even walk in the build-up to that goalless draw against Brighton. But he's now available. I've been talking about this for the past week. I think Mark Gay will start against Wolves away. The same goes for Dean Henderson, Richards, Lacroix, Wharton, Kamada, Mitchell, Munoz, Yeremi Pino, Sarr, and Jean-Philippe Mateta. Eddie Nketiah is also back and Oliver Glasner confirmed that the Eagles have a fully fit squad, and they've also got some of the best fixtures up until Game Week 17, where they face the likes of Wolves away, Man United at home, and they have 2 more away games against Burnley and Fulham, so things look very promising for the Eagles. With Everton, there are no updates yet in the press conference, but that will be taken into account in my deadline stream tomorrow. Jordan Pickford will be in goal, with Garner, Tarkowski, Keane and Mikalenko as the likely back four, with Eric Bonen partnering Idrissa Gana Gueye in central midfield, in Dye and Grealish on the wings, and Dewsbury Hall behind Tierno Barry, but with the striker, it's a toss of a coin, and Beto has mainly been preferred so far this season. After Man United away, it's Newcastle at home, Bournemouth away, and Nottingham Forest at home for Everton, and that's another solid set of predictions there for the Toffees. And with Fulham, Marcus Silva provided a big update on Rodrigo Muniz, who will be out for a considerable amount of time due to a hamstring injury. Sad news for us about Muniz. To have a setback is painful for him, for all of us. He had the surgery on Saturday. February, in the middle of February, could be the time for him. And after Sunderland at home, Fulham will face Tottenham away and have 2 more home games against Man City and Crystal Palace. And I expect them to line up with Leno, Tete, Anderson, Bassi and Sessegnon, Iwobi and Sandenberg in the midfield, Wilson and Kevin on the wings, and Josh King just behind Raul Jimenez, who is poised to start for the foreseeable future. I think that's how Fulham will line up in Game Week 12. And with Leeds United, it's another team that I've predicted fairly well this season, and they've got some awful fixtures on the horizon. After Aston Villa at home, they've got Man City away, Chelsea and Liverpool all at Ellen Road, but it's still not looking too great there for the newly promoted club. I think Perry will start in goal, with Bogle and Goodmanson as the fullbacks, Rodon and Biol in central defence, and then Ampadu, Longstaff and Stack is the likely midfield partnership, but Tanaka could also start from time to time. Aronson and Okafor on the wings, and the Metch up front. That is my predicted lineup for Leeds United, and we got plenty of updates on Friday morning from Arne Slot regarding Liverpool, and he said Andy Robertson didn't train yet, but he will be with us today. Alisson trained last week and this week, so he'll be able to play tomorrow if things work out well today. If he's ready to play, he will start, but we do have some issues after the international break, unfortunately. Connor Bradley is not able to play, and Florian Wirtz is not able to play. That's far from ideal, both muscle issues. I don't expect Connor to be part of the next 22 days. Florian won't be that long. So to replace Connor Bradley, I've gone for Curtis Jones as the right back, but we've seen a few other alternatives like Joe Gomez playing there and also Dominic Szoboszlai, but I think Liverpool will want to play the Hungarian in an attacking midfield position whilst retaining Gravenberch and McAllister in the midfield. So Alisson will start, and it's a tough call between Kirkes or Robertson, but because Robertson is kind of pushing the limit and he's only trained today on Friday the 21st of November, I believe Kirkes could start in the Premier League against Nottingham Forest, but Robertson is currently the first choice left back. Van Dijk and Konate will also start, Salah and Gakpo on the wings, and I think Szoboszlai will be just behind Ekitike to complete this starting 11. And Liverpool have the best fixtures for the next 3 game weeks, facing Nottingham Forest at home, West Ham away, and Sunderland at home. And it's not too shabby either, just a bit afterwards against Leeds away. So I think Liverpool have a great chance to get a few wins under the belt, maybe a couple of clean sheets, and rise up the Premier League table and compete for that title. The next team is Man City, who will be the main contenders for Arsenal this season. And Pep Guardiola said everybody is fit apart from Mateo Kovacic and Rodri. Rodri is making good steps, almost 3 weeks since he had the last little bit of a setback. He knows that we have to take real time to recover, fine with the problems that he had to be consistent between now and until the end. Man City have a tough test there against Newcastle away, who are sitting in mid-table at the moment, but they're still always so tough to beat at St James's Park. Then it's Leeds at home, Fulham away, and Sunderland at home. If you still have the triple captaincy chip, my recommendation is going for Haaland in Game Week 13. But if you've also got the wild card in your back pocket, then you might be in a better position to use it now in Game Week 12, especially if you have Antoine Semenyo, Gabriel, and all these other yellow/orange flag players, and you might have even more doubts or suspensions in your 15-man squad, like Lucas Paqueta and Dan Burn, for example. But Donnarumma will start in goal, with Mateus Nunes and Nico O'Reilly as the fullbacks. Ruben Dias and Gvardiol is the main centre-back partnership, and Nico Gonzalez has done a fine job replacing the injured Rodri. Bernardo Silva and Doku is the likely winger sort of combo, with Cherki and Foden just behind Haaland. I think Rangers will be benched once again, and with Man City, it's 101 predictions correct so far this season, and let's see if I can add to those numbers in Game Week 12. With Man United, it's quite similar. I've recently gotten more predictions right as they have found a settled 11 and gotten some good results. They also have some promising fixtures against Everton, Crystal Palace, West Ham and Wolves. Lamens will start in goal with Yoro, De Ligt and Shaw in that defensive line. Mazraoui and Dalot as the wing-backs. Casemiro was yellow flagged, but that was removed during the international break. And Bruno Fernandes will start as usual with Mbeumo, Amad Diallo and Cunha. Benjamin Sesko will be out for the next month. I think his likely return will be on Boxing Day, which I covered in my Transfers podcast. So I think United's front three speaks for itself until Sesko returns. We're now moving on to Newcastle United, who face Man City at home next. Then it's Everton away, Tottenham and Burnley at home. And I've gotten 110 correct predictions for the Toon Army. Nick Pope in goal. Trippier, Chow, Botman and Lewis Hall is the likely back four, with Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes and Joelinton, who has been cleared, as I'll get onto very soon. Jacob Murphy and Harvey Barnes will be the likely winger partnership, and Nick Voltemada will start up front. Now, Eddie Howe provided plenty of updates in Friday's press conference. He said Anthony Gordon is very close. He's worked well during the break and he's touch and go for the game. Will make a very late decision. Nick Pope is trained and there's no problems there. Sandro Tonali will be fit to play against Man City tomorrow, and Joelinton is also fit after his injury against Brentford, but Vissa will not feature in Gameweek 12. The other updates provided by Eddie Howe were about Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall, and he said the following on Livramento. He's very close, he's trained in the international break, which is great to see. He's such an important player for us, and it's great to have him back training with the group. He's done a lot of work. He's been very, very good professionally with how he's dealt with the injury and the work he's done with the physios. So I'd say he's in good shape. I'm really pleased to have both players potentially available in Livramento and Lewis Hall. So things are looking a bit better for Newcastle. Moving on to Nottingham Forest, Sean Dyche provided plenty of updates on Thursday's press conference, and he said Callum Hudson-Odoi has made good progress. He's been on the grass with us this week. He's certainly in consideration to be in the squad, so that's better news. Chris Wood's getting rescanned, so we're checking up on that, but it's good news so far. That's just part of the process. There's nothing untoward about that. It's just a checkup. Sinchenko, Aina, Douglas Luiz and Bakwa remain injured, and Forest will play Liverpool away next, followed by Brighton at home, Wolves and Everton away over the next 4 game weeks. Sell should start in goal, with Savona and Williams as the fullbacks, Milenkovic and Murillo in central defence, Sangari and Anderson in the midfield, and Hutchinson got 2 FPL assists against Leeds as a substitute. I think he could start if Hudson-Odoi isn't ready to be in that starting 11, with Ndoye on the left, Gibbs White just behind Igor Jesus, and that looks pretty decent for Nottingham Forest. The same goes for the next team in Sunderland, who will have Alderete back, and he could start over Geertruida. That'll be my main concern about the starting 11, but Roofs, Hume, Mukiele, Ballard and Renilo Mandava all seem fairly nailed on. The same goes for Xhaka and Siddiqui in the midfield, and I think Lefay and Traore will start as the wingers, and Isidore up front. And the Sunderland manager Labrie provided a few updates on the likes of Renildo Mandava, who is fine after sustaining a hamstring knock during the international break, and Alderete return from concussion protocols, and he is now fully fit and available. Churkin, Mondor and Hjeld will feature for the under-21s as they continue their recovery, and Sunderland have some tough fixtures on the horizon against Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, Liverpool and Man City away. And overall this season, I've gotten a decent set of predictions for them, 109 out of a possible 121. We're now on to the last couple of teams to complete the full list of the 20 Premier League clubs, and Tottenham Hotspur have gotten exactly 100 correct with them. They have the North London derby next at the Emirates, followed by Fulham, Newcastle and Brentford. Kudus is the only yellow flag player in the starting 11, but they still have plenty of players who are still unavailable or still doubtful for the North London derby. Vicario should start in goal, Pedro and Spence as the fullbacks, Romero and Van der Ven in the defence, Paulinho and Bentancur in the midfield, Xavi Simons, Odobert, Kudus and Richarlison is the likely midfield to front line for Tottenham Hotspur, and we'll see what Thomas Frank says in his press conference later today. Now we're on to West Ham, and Nuno Espirito Santo provided updates on Thursday during his press conference, and he confirmed that Fulkrug, Mavropanos and Freddie Potts are recovering and will be assessed tomorrow. Lucas Paqueta is suspended after picking up 5 yellow cards. Areola will start in goal with Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman and Diouf. I think Freddie Potts will start if he's available, alongside Thomas Soucek. And to replace the suspended Lucas Paqueta, I think Matheus Fernandes could play a little bit further forward, with Bowen and Somerville on either side of him and Callum Wilson up front. Despite getting crucial back-to-back wins in the Premier League, West Ham have some difficult fixtures on the horizon against Bournemouth away, Liverpool at home, and 2 more away games against Man United and Brighton. And last but not least, even though they are bottom of the Premier League table, is Wolves, who will now have a new manager in Rob Edwards, and he provided plenty of updates on Friday during his press conference. Agbadu returns from suspension, but Bentley, Doherty, and Rodrigo Gomez are out. I think Johnston will start in goal with Santiago Bueno, Krejci, and Totti Gomez in that defensive line, Chichawa and Hugo Bueno as the wing-backs, with Joao Gomez and Andre in the midfield, Bellegarde, Hwang Hee-chan, and Strand Larsen up front. But it'll be quite interesting to see if Wolves play a back three or a back four, and the likes of Menezes could still find their way into the starting 11. After Crystal Palace at home, it's Aston Villa away, Nottingham Forest, and Man United at home. So that's 3 home games there for Wolves over the next 4, and they need to get some points and wins ASAP. And there's no doubt that Wolves are the most difficult team to predict so far this season. They kept changing formation and didn't have that stable starting 11, but hopefully we see that in the weeks to come, with results and performances also improving, so we have a real good relegation fight. And if Wolves can stay up, it would be a great achievement from Rob Edwards, who did some good work at Luton Town and Middlesbrough. So let's see if he can build upon that affinity he has with Wolves during his playing days and keep them up. And this could make the season even more exciting. But I think Wolves could have some decent FPL assets in the weeks to come. We like Strand Larsen up front. Apart from that, I do struggle to really highlight too many names, but this could obviously change. Football is a funny game, and managerial bounces are a big thing. We saw that last season when Vitor Pereira took over Wolves, and the likes of Cunha and Aït-Nouri were very appealing FPL assets. But that completes all 20 Premier League teams with the starting 11s, and this will be modified and tweaked in tomorrow's deadline stream, depending on the team news and injury updates we get on Friday and the Saturday, to provide you the ultimate FPL coverage. We have reached the end of the predicted lineups for Game Week 12 in Fantasy Premier League, highlighting all the team news, injury updates, suspensions, and probable lineups for the Premier League teams this weekend. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If that was the case, drop a like on this video, subscribe to my channel, and also hit the notification bell so you're always up to date on my content for both FPL and UCL Fantasy. Stay tuned for the Matchday 5 content, including the best wildcard and limitless squads, my team selection, and the deadline stream next Tuesday. The same goes for FPL, of course. For Game Week 12, there will be the deadline stream tomorrow, a possible reaction as well on the Saturday, and plenty more going into the rest of the season. And throughout the Christmas period, I'll be getting videos and live streams done on a regular basis, as I have done for the last 5 years for both fantasy formats. And I also cover the occasional World Cup, Euros, Club World Cup. I have been doing that for the last couple of tournaments, and if you want to see that in the years to come, then let me know down the comment section below, and let's get this video to over 150 likes and closing on new goals like 38k on YouTube. Follow me on X, Instagram, and Blue Sky, Dylan RCM, and check all the links in the description for my Patreon and the championships, fair access to my videos, amongst many other perks. My Discord server, the FPL League, and Spotify can also be found in the description. I'll see you tomorrow for the next FPL deadline stream, and keep your eyes peeled for UCL Fantasy content.